In February, I flew to Eagle, Alaska. From there, I planned to ski clear across the state they call the last frontier, 900 miles along the frozen Yukon River, alone. I thought it would take me 3 months. I started out in weather 40 below, hauling 160 pounds of sled and supplies. Things were tough from the start. A few nights out, and it had dropped to 55 below, and I still had 16 miles to go before I'd reach the shelter of a cabin. The Trout River is where I'm at, with some blisters on my toes. These are my pretty feet after just 3 days, mind you.
Oh, they're beautiful.
My feet! My hosts were a couple of trappers, and their place offered all the comforts of home. Woo, that's a cold seat! After a week, the weather and my feet had warmed up enough to push on. The guys were heading downriver to check their traps, so I hitched a ride on and off over the next 40 miles. Oh, and about that warmer weather, I spoke too soon.
What I've got is I got 2 cups of hot water here. It's minus 50. It's so cold that this will dissipate in the air. You ready? 1 cup and then another. Here's 1. Here's 2. That's amazing!
I headed off alone for the village of Circle, some 80 miles and 5 days away. The cold was relentless. One night I had to rescue my fingers from frostbite. And each day I'd struggle and sweat while the freezing air covered my face with ice. A few days more and I'd lose all my eyelashes.
You're cooling down soon.
They say extreme cold can play with your emotions. I'd have to say it's true. The hardest part of this trip has been the loneliness. I see people along the way once in a while, some trappers or mushers or snowmobilers. But as soon as they're gone, it's like they've never been there. But on the way out of Circle, I was a little less alone. The family I'd stayed with gave me a traveling companion, a sled dog named Diamond. He made a big difference, just by giving me something else to think about. And he pulled enough to help me triple my daily mileage. My days settled into a comforting routine. Once the sun had softened up the snow and slowed me down, I'd stop to make camp. I'd cook up a hot meal, and one for Diamond as well. Then we'd bed down on our spruce mattress with the sun still high in the sky.
Say goodnight.
We'd be up before dawn, when the air was cold and the snow still frozen. Mail call at Stevens Village. It was a perfect time to hit town. Early April, the spring carnival in full swing. Races and games and hearty home-cooked potluck dinners. The villagers, native Athapaskans, welcomed me into their family. After 600 long, cold miles, I was more than ready for the hospitality. The locals convinced me that with spring coming, it was time to put down the skis, pick up a paddle, and make the rest of my way by canoe. A handmade canoe, built by yours truly. The ice was starting to break up. In just 3 to 4 weeks, the Yukon would be open to boats. But would I be ready for the river? I'd paddled canoes before, but building one was an entirely new challenge. The villagers helped me out with tools and tips, but they gave me plenty of room to do it my way. And that's how I live my life. Follow your own course like the river, step by step, day by day, and before you know it, you'll get where you're going.
Bye, Robert!
Saying goodbye to my new friends was bittersweet, but not as sad as leaving my dog behind. I'd send for Diamond when I reached the end of the river. Better friends are hard to find. It was late May when I pushed off. Canoeing all the way to the mouth of the Yukon meant 900 miles of paddling lay ahead. I felt great to be back underway, logging miles and watching the northern wilderness shake off its winter slumber. The spectacular scenery made it all too easy to drop my guard. Got a storm going on here. Some lovely weather.
Yeah, I just saw some lightning that way. Well, hopefully it won't follow me or run into me. There's a whirlpool right behind me. Just opened up. Those things scare me.
I continued to hit conditions I hadn't planned on. The headwinds were killer all the last 200 miles. As the river and ocean currents collided, the waters swelled up, and by the town of Pilot Station, I was fighting with 4-foot waves. After weeks of paddling 15 hours a day, my hands and arms were numb with pain. Now, aching limbs I can handle. The real problem was my battered boat. Mountain Village, my final destination, was only 40 miles away, but my canoe was history. Pilot Station would be the end of the line. Though I didn't reach my goal, I had made it all the way to the Yukon Delta. I had crossed Alaska, 4 months and 6 days, 1,500 miles on my own.